Hello, hello, hello. It is me again because I can't stop, won't stop. And I have to keep doing what I can and doing my part to get the word out. And my first question that I have is I want to know, when did America lose its humanity? Because this lack of concern or caring about what is happening to so many people in this country, whether they are citizens or non citizens or permanent residents, or even if they're here illegally, and this treatment of these people being disappeared to this El Salvadorian gulag is disgusting. And these people were, whether they are gang members or whether they've committed crimes, whether they haven't, none of them were given due process. So that is where the laws have been broken because these people were swept up, taken away with no due process, no ability to plead their case or show their documents or anything. Now, there have been people who have been returned. A number that the last number I heard was 15. But 60 Minutes did a report, and I know I said this yesterday, I'm saying it again, but they did a report and they said that 90% of the people who were sent to El Salvador had no criminal record. Okay, so just keep that in mind. So the regime would want to argue that if you're in this country illegally, you've committed a crime. But in the campaign, what they ran on was saying that they were going to target people in this country who are or have committed crimes. But that's not what they're doing. And what everyone needs to understand is that, yes, we've gotten a lot of attention about Abrego Garcia, which we should. We should be talking about him and we should be saying his name every day. Say his name, Abrego Garcia. And what happened to him is a travesty. And they keep doubling and tripling down on the fact that they still maintain that he is this MS-16 gang member. They have no proof. Okay, there's been no proof. And that's what I want to see. Where's the evidence? Because there isn't any. And they haven't shown any. Again, he was not given due process. So how would we know whether that's true or not? Because they said it, because everything they say every single day in the press room, in the Oval Office, and is all lies. They just lie to the American people every day. So you can't believe anything they say, and they never provide receipts. They just lie. And what people need to understand as well is that in the Oval Office, when Donald Trump was with Bukele, President Bukele of El Salvador, what did he say? I need you to build 5 more prisons because the next thing I'm going to target are the homegrowns. He said the homegrowns, talking about American citizens that he wants to send to El Salvador. Okay? So, and if you think he's just talking about American citizens who have committed what he calls heinous crimes, then think again, because that's what they said they were going to do when they started deporting people, that they were going to go after the criminals first. And that's not what they've done. And if you think that they're going to just go after criminals in this situation, then you are sorely mistaken. And the reason why that you need to understand that we are in a constitutional crisis right now and we have been taken over by an authoritarian regime is because of their defiance of the Supreme Court's order to return this man. Now, they've defied other orders and it's gotten overlooked, but this one is getting a lot of attention, and it should, because they have been told that they need to return this man. They have openly said they're not going to return this man. And then they tried to put it off on El Salvador, that it's their decision because he's an El Salvadorian citizen, although he was here in this country legally. He was a legal permanent resident. He was on a work permit. He was doing all of his check-ins with DHS, and he was working as a sheet metal operator and raising his family and all of that. And there's no proof that's been given that he is a gang member. Okay? So just keep that in mind. And they are not returning him. They're not going to. No matter what the Supreme Court says, they're not going to return him. And as we know, it's the same Supreme Court that gave Donald Trump blanket immunity. So he continues to get away with things because he can, because no one does anything about it. No one does anything, no matter what he does. And if you guys think that this man has any plans of leaving the White House when his term is up, you are also sorely mistaken, because he has every bit of intentions of staying there. And if something was to happen to him, they would just put someone else in his place. They don't plan on leaving the White House, okay? And people need to understand that. If they're not removed, they don't plan on leaving. And people keep talking about, oh, we're going to vote him out in the midterms. There aren't going to be any midterms. There's not going to be any midterms if he stays in office. And there's not going to be another presidential election either. So y'all need to understand that in 2 years, we're not going to be able to fix all these problems. Because I'll have to do another video on all the damage that's been done that can't be undone. That's going to take years and years and years to undo, especially with the relationships with the rest of the world that no longer trust us and no longer considers us an ally. So, except for Russia and North Korea and El Salvador. So, yeah, we like to align now with dictatorships, is what we do. So, we have got to figure out what we can do, because this regime needs to be removed. Because like I said, if they're not leaving. They're not leaving. So don't get it twisted. And don't try to sugarcoat it. I see so many people doing news reports and they sugarcoat everything and they don't speak of it like it should be spoken of. And this is an emergency. This is the taking down of our democracy, and we are all going to lose our rights and lose our freedoms. That's what's going to happen if this regime is allowed to stay in office. So please, please, please get the word out. Please please subscribe. If you're on YouTube, please hit the subscribe button. It's free. Please like, comment, share, because we need to get the word out. Thank you. Have a great day.